Okay. Hello, I'm here to talk to you guys today about the evolution of skateboarding. It is one of my biggest passions in life and one of my favorite sports. I've grown up skateboarding, not necessarily the traditional skateboard. I actually started on a longboard and then kind of worked my way into like the target boards, and then I don't know, I never really got this until recently, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But it's more than the eyes can see. I think a lot of people perceive skateboarding as this, bad sport where all these rebellious people skateboard, but it's really not. It's a sport merely introduced 70 years ago, but it was relatively unchanged for the past 30 years. So, without further introduction, I will talk about the history of skateboarding, my personal experience, and how it's kind of scrutinized by society. So first, the history. This is the first skateboard. As much as that is insane, that is the first skateboard. Originated in the 1950s, SoCal surfers wanted the same experience in the water on land. So they got these 1x4-inch wooden slabs with these clay or metal rollerblading wheels, and then just took it to the streets and just skateboarded. According to Skateboarding Magazine, Val Surf, located in Southern California, began selling complete sets just like these, becoming the first official skate shop ever. Although they were non-durable, like you can see. Clay or metal wheels, very hard to ride, and they just never became a big thing. It almost took a drop, because people get injured all the time. If you hit anything bigger than a grain of salt, you would hit your face right on the ground and get a gnarly bruise to prove it, and it was terrible. Until Frank Nasby came along in 1971 with the polyurethane wheel. That was according to an article written by Frank Whitmore. They were a lot easier to ride, a lot more durable, and really just became a whole new thing. Then the Zephyr Boys, known as the Z Boys, took over the sport from there. They were the lords of Dogtown, if you guys have heard of them. They were Tony Alba, Jay Adams, Paul Cohen, Stacy Peralta, all these great guys from Santa Monica, Venice area, just took over the sport. They would literally cruise down the streets of Venice on top of vans, seeing if people had a pool in their backyard just to go skate. And that to me is insane, because that is so cool. They created the sport. They had these, here, actually a picture. So this is the Lords of Dogtown here, and that was what they did on the clay wheels. They literally just turned and weaved, and that was it. And then in the 1980s, the ollie was created. That was Tony Alba right there. That was out of the pool. So this was the biggest kind of event in skateboarding. He shot outside the pool, coming up outside of the wall, and then got this frontside air, took a picture somehow, some way, and then came down the other side. And that was the biggest thing ever. Then people went crazy. They called not only that trick fake, but ollies fake. And ollie is basically when your board kind of comes up and then just gets in the air, and then you land with both your feet on the board. And that is the most basic trick of skateboarding, but everybody called it fake. Nobody thought it was real. Smoke and mirrors, that's what they said. Until then, really, skateboarding hadn't become a big, popular sport. Then the X Games came along in 1995, where Tony Hawk just revolutionized everything and did a 900, which is 2.5 rotations above a half pipe. And it was so cool. I thought it was amazing. Maybe you guys didn't, but it was so insane. He did a 900, which had never been done. Tony Hawk was my hero. I don't know. I was fascinated. So going on, I want to tell you guys a personal story of mine. It was 2012. I was 13 years old, and I was on my way to Stone Ridge Mall. And that was kind of the start of my skateboarding career. I went and bought a longboard for a very expensive price. It is pictured right here. That's the longboard, $222. And that was expensive for me. I was a 13-year-old kid, never had any money in his life. And that was my board. I rode it downtown, I rode it to the store, to my friend's house, in the pool, literally everywhere. That thing is trash now. And it was a completely different board than this, because it's a longer board. As you can see, it's 41 inches long, and it's 9 inches wide. This is much less than that, as you can see. It's only about 10 inches long, 10 inches wide, which is when you stand on it, it makes all the difference. So surfing expert Tim Nunn explains the evolution of skateboarding, that longboards kind of evolved because surfers would take a surfboard and put it on a skateboard with wheels. and then ride around the streets of Venice, and they would just shred. I mean, it was insane. So, going on with the story, I got on that longboard and went down the perfect hill in my neighborhood and just bombed it. Like, 13 years old, I had no fear in my life, and immediately hit the ground, of course. The board gets speed wobbles as you go down a hill, so if you're going really fast, it like shakes back and forth, causing it to be like really hard to ride. So of course I jumped off, and then I hit the ground really hard. And I remember right when I walked in the door, my mom was like, "You're grounded, 100%." And I was scrutinized from then on. But that never stopped me. I kept going, I kept enjoying it, and of course, bought more boards. So this one here is a penny board. It's actually a really small board. It's only 22 inches long and 6 inches wide. It's almost like a little cruiser board with these polyurethane wheels similar to these, which make it really easy to ride, and then it's small, it's durable, you can take it anywhere. I rode that thing in the airports from Kentucky to California, literally everywhere. That thing is amazing. So as I kept evolving, as I kept getting into it, I bought one of these boards. So this is the traditional skateboard. It's around $50 to buy, and then the trucks along with it make it about $120 maybe. It's super fun to ride, especially if you get good at it. I'm not good at all. I can only do like 2 tricks. But I love to go to the park. That is why it is my favorite sport, because it just brings this camaraderie between people. That's my next topic, scrutinized by society. So skateboarding has always been this, drug user, rebellious, vandalizer, kind of all these preconceived notions that people are just bad who are involved in the sport. Which really makes me sad, because that is so not true. Perhaps some of the people who skateboard, yes, maybe they use drugs, maybe they are vandalizers, but it's not all bad. Sean Malto, professional skateboarder for this company here, which is Girls Skateboards, says it best. It saves you from getting addicted to drugs because it consumes your life. When I'm not skateboarding, I'm thinking about skateboarding. That's a professional skateboarder who gets boards sent to him. He is like a great young guy who knows a lot. But 20 million people around the world skate internationally. So maybe you don't know, Barcelona, Vancouver, even China are all really big skateboarding kind of worlds in a way. Everybody there has their own different style. Even in the Dominican Republic, people skateboard, and it's such a different style than they have here. And when I say style, it's the way they land tricks are different. Not necessarily their foot motions, but like when they maybe hit a trick, they speak differently about it than maybe we do in America. It's totally different. They like praise each other for bigger tricks and great, huge, tricks that they do. Unlike here, I would say. And according to a professor of anthropology at the University of Montana, 5.5 million people watch the X Games. I told you guys the X Games were where Tony Hawk made his debut, but they're much more than skateboarding. They're BMX. They are, even kids are out there skateboarding, and it's a great way for skateboarders to come together and just enjoy the sport itself. And it gives these kids an outlet to get away from all these controversial issues. And the problem with the skateboarding market right now is that it's actually declining. So it's on the backs, it's going downhill just like it was when the polyurethane wheel was just invented. It needs that extra spike. And the problem with it is that it's kids wanting to get involved don't have that opportunity anymore. Their parents are searching for safer options when they're in that 5 to 9 age range, which is a perfect target for skateboarding markets. But their parents want to, seek other options, just like with American football, where everybody doesn't want to play the sport because it's too strenuous on the body. You can get a concussion, and just like skateboarding, you can break your collarbone, you can get a concussion. So that's kind of the issue, and that's why I'm so trying to drive this message home. It's a $4.8 billion market, skateboarding. I'm not lying. The market targets those 5 to 9 age range because when they get older, then they want gear, then they want equipment, they want to be like those professionals, which is why it is so impervious to get those kids involved. I am definitely trying to do that. A lot of my younger cousins want to get into skateboarding, and I've literally just given them my board because I want them to see if they enjoy it or just get an opportunity to. According to a Scholastic article on the history of skateboarding, skateboarding can be enjoyed by children as young as 2 years old, but the majority of skateboarders range from early teens to 20s. Many cities have built high-quality skate parks in a number of camps. So have you guys ever heard of Woodward Parks, maybe? It's in Pennsylvania if you don't know, and it's super awesome because it's like Disneyland for skateboarding. I don't exactly know how many acres it is, but they have at least 10 different skate parks all around this whole big field in Pennsylvania, and it's perfect for kids to go learn skateboarding and then just meet pros. Pros go there all the time just to keep getting skateboarding popular and talked about. It's an activity that can be enjoyed with the family, and it teaches valuable lessons. Of course, when I fall on my skateboard, it hurts like hell, but I get back up and I learn a lesson, and I understand that it's not always going to be success. So, in conclusion, I want to tell you that skateboarding has greatly evolved since the 1950s. It's a sport which teaches you to never give up. You learn how to stay motivated, and you learn that there are people around you for support. When you go to a skate park, I find that every time I go, yes, I'm out skated at the park 9 times out of 10, but I talk to people. There are a lot of people there, especially even at the slow park, where they've skated here for so long, they're like 35, 40, and they know so much, and I don't. So I can learn from them, and I can talk to them, and I can learn how to improve, obviously. So, with all that being said, don't judge a book by its cover. If you see a skateboarder, don't maybe perceive them as so bad. Yes, of course, there are bad people out there. I understand that. But skateboarding is a lot more than what the eyes can see. It's a sport that is going to change the world. It's going to be popular. It's going to be in the Olympics. I promise you that. And it's going to be one that you will want to remember.